Another day, another video. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Arnold.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Amazing.
Nice to meet you in person.
Yes, sir. Finally.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
We got a very interesting video for today.
Yes, we do. But we're going to start it with coffee.
Hell yeah, of course. Coffee has to be the main thing.
100%. The good thing about Glendale is there's a Starbucks at every corner.
Every single corner, and all of them are full. Maximum parking. We're going to talk about how to reinvent yourself.
Okay.
We all had those moments in our life that I feel like, we had to go to a different country, go to a different location, start a new job, and we kind of had to recreate ourselves, recreate our image, self-image. Have you had those moments? Especially, I remember you were telling me off cam, you were born outside of America. There was times in your life you had to change your jobs, your career. I feel like you probably had gone through a lot of those moments like that, right?
Absolutely. And I feel like everybody that is in the business or, in any industry, you get to a point where you have to reinvent yourself once you hit a plateau, once you hit a wall. And everybody has that wall. So once you get there, now you got to start thinking and reinventing, basically, just like you said, from scratch, what to do with your image in order to push forward to levels that you've never seen before.
100%.
Yeah.
You said you're also in Mexico, right? So you also had to change culturally, all those things.
Yeah.
How was it knowing so many languages? 4, 5?
I speak 4 fluently, of which is Armenian, Russian, Spanish, and English. And the reason is I didn't learn it in colleges or anything like that.
Yeah.
We kind of got lucky, and we traveled as a family for a couple of years in each country, and I learned the native tongue in the country itself. Yeah, so Mexico was 3 years, and then we came here.
It's easy, right? Spanish, I heard it's easy.
Yeah, I mean, at the time when I came to Mexico, I didn't speak a word of Spanish at all. We came from Russia at the time, so I only spoke Armenian and Russian. And basically what the hardest part for me was, as a kid, it was just okay, here you go, new country, and you got to just tackle it from scratch.
Yeah.
Once I learned how to say, what is that, in Spanish, ¿qué es eso?
Yeah.
I would just point, and, my friends would tell me exactly what it is. So, ¿qué es eso? Carro, ¿qué es eso? Árbol, they will just teach you what it is.
You just spam that word, ¿qué es eso?
Yeah, ¿qué es eso? Yeah. Straight up spammed it. I learned the whole language. In 3 months, I was, speaking. Straight up. But as a kid, I feel like you pick it up quicker, too. So
100%, yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I had experience with Spanish language. I tried it to learn for a month, bro. I gave up.
Really? In college or where?
Okay, so when I was dating, my ex was Cuban, so I was trying to understand their language, but Cuban Spanish is just so hard to understand, bro.
It's different.
I was is this Spanish? I'm I cannot get this, man. I couldn't get it.
No, absolutely. Yeah,
so I
Cuban
retired.
Spanish is different.
Yeah.
You retired?
Yeah, I retired.
What about now? No girlfriends or girlfriend?
No, right now I'm single.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Single, locked in on the purpose and the mission.
Very good. Very good. And that's, again, a phase in our life where we really have to 100% have dedication on our crafts.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel with relationships, I'm not a believer that I feel it's distracting. A lot of people say it's a distraction. I feel it just depends on the person, but it definitely has a lot to do with energy allocation.
Yeah.
Where do you put your energy?
Yeah.
And if you can't put 100% of your energy on a certain goal or something that you want to achieve, then obviously it's going to be in your benefit,
Oh, of course. I mean, you can get with the wrong person very easily.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it is very time consuming. But there are people that are beneficial for your business. So it just depends really, who you meet and how much time you're giving them and what are they giving you in terms of not only your personal life, but also your business. There's really good people out there. You just got to get out there and get to know them,
Yeah, some people are, good investments. Some people are bad investments. But I feel at the end of the day, if you have the right perception, you can always learn a lesson from it,
Yeah, that's true. And family dynamics as well.
Of course.
Okay, this is my favorite Starbucks right here. Grandview and Glen Oaks. I sold the house right here, the bushes that are grown out.
Right there?
Yeah, the ficus. See the ficuses?
So how much are the houses here?
Right here, literally on, I mean, like this one that when we sold it a couple of years back, it was $1,200,000, $1,100,000 ballpark. I don't even remember it, to be honest. Now the same house, I mean, he remodeled the hell out of it, but if he didn't touch it,
Yeah.
it went up, I want to say I mean, Glendale is a beast. You can't find a single house above Glen Oaks under 1.3 right now. Like a really bad one. Yeah, like Baitats Borasem, like that. Yeah, but like average house now here is like, it can be 1.5, 1.6. Yeah. Like I have a condo right now for sale, 1.2 million. It's a condo. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like mansion money in Texas, huh?
Yeah, 100%. And what a lot of people don't realize is a couple years ago, the interest rates were 3%, chap. You could have easily bought a home and rented it out and have your rent cover your mortgage. You can't do that anymore.
Because of the interest rates are too high?
Because of the interest rates are too high and the prices as well. So everything went up.
Yeah.
What do you drink?
Just order a quad shot espresso, iced.
Say it again.
Quad shot espresso.
Hi, my name's Joe.
Quad shot espresso? Wow, that's strong.
Just 4 shots of espresso.
How you doing, brother? Can you do 4 shots of espresso, quad shot espresso, tall?
Just small.
Small. The small one, 2 of those.
Got it?
What about, do you want to add any sweetener or anything to it? Nothing.
No.
Okay, just raw, just like that.
Sorry?
Just like that, 2 of those.
Just 2 of those? Got you. And what was your name?
Arnold?
Got you, Arnold. It's going to be $8.50. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bro,
Damn, bro. that's a lot of espresso.
$8.50 for coffees, that's crazy.
Yeah, for 2 cups.
Yeah, but still that's...
Yeah, it's a dollar a shot, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
But it still is crazy because I feel like it used to be way lower.
Yeah, it used to be pennies, bro. Now it's... I mean, you get in here, you get out, sometimes you spend $20. And you do that every day, that adds up. And people do this twice a day.
What do you think about, like, you know, people say, you know, you gotta stop, like, you know, spending money on, like, stuff like this. Like, you know, saving your money, basically, to, like, financial freedom.
No, I don't think about that. So if... there's this thing that the British say, it's penny smart, pound foolish. So you're smart on the pennies, you're smart on the $8. You're like, okay, I'm gonna stop this $8 habit, I'm gonna stop this, you know, $16 habit, and I'm saving money. But in reality, you're not focused on the pounds. So you're not focused on the, hey, let me sell that $2 million house. Hey, let me talk to that guy in the G-Wagon to see if I can sell him a house. Hey, let me do this, let me do that. So you're smart on the pennies, but you're losing out the big deals.
They don't look at the bigger picture.
Correct.
No, that's so true.
Yeah, and when you, there's this thing in Russian, it's called melishnik. It's like when you start looking at tiny things so much that you only focus on the little things. And that happens with, for example, like, and I mean, I'm a salesman. I look at a lot of people and I meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
For example, if you meet, let's say, a jeweler, he works with tiny things all day. And to him, what he's doing all day as his job is he's looking at, you know, milligrams of something, grams of something, like tiny little scales. And he's counting, you know, little tiny ounces of gold all day. When he goes to the store and he's looking at the milk, he's looking at the price. You can't get down to that level. You still have to look bigger. Instead of looking down at the little things, it's how do I sell more gold to more clients? How do I advertise, you know, more? Damn, this guy's fast. Hold on. Hello. 1 second. Thank you so much.
Any straws?
You want straw?
Oh, no, it's fine.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you. All right.
Cheers for the caffeine.
Cheers.
Thank you, bro.
That's right. What do you think about that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, bro, that makes total sense. I feel like that applies to a lot of things. You know, like a lot of people that just say, I've been in the fitness industry for a long time. Like I used to coach a lot of people.
Okay.
And
you are fit as hell. That was the first thing I said.
Thank you. It's like a lot of people, you know, they're like, oh, I want to lose weight or I want to gain weight.
Yeah.
They always focus on the smallest things that basically makes like 5% of the difference. They're like, oh, should I eat, you know, beans with my rice? Or should I add, you know, should I eat chicken or beef?
They think it's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Haskatsa.
They focus on the small percentage and they don't focus on the big percentage.
Interesting.
That's the same thing, you know?
So if, let's say I want to lose weight, right? I'm like, hey, bro, I want to lose 20 pounds.
Yeah.
What's your, like, obviously it's tailored to each person differently, but like, what's your advice in general? Like somebody's like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. Like, where do you go from there?
Okay. So what I would always say is that it's easier to replace things or remove things than add things, right?
Okay.
And the common thing is that you have to go work out. Obviously, everyone is like, yeah, go work out, right?
Of course.
But my thing is, if you can eliminate food, basically, like eat less, that's going to be way easier for you because you're not necessarily adding anything to your lifestyle. You're not changing anything. You're just removing things, right?
Interesting.
So the moment you do that, let's just say you're eating 3,000 calories, let's just say, right? You're eating 3 meals a day, 1,000 calories each. You drop like one of the meals and then you have the other one of them, right? So it's like a meal and a half basically, right? You just eat that every day. For like 2-3 months, you're going to lose a lot of weight.
Interesting. Which I've noticed recently. Just real estate just sometimes picks up like crazy and sometimes it's dead.
Yeah.
And for the last 2 weeks, I've been training 1 to 2 agents per day, just ride-alongs from morning to night.
Yeah.
And I don't have time to eat. So I'll have like protein shakes that I dump in my trunk that I got from Amazon. And just like, I'm not getting enough calories. I lost 12 pounds in 14 days. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But again, I'm a bigger guy. So for me to lose weight, it's, in the beginning, it's really fast. And then just like, it slows down.
I'm sure you probably have seen this in real estate too. Like there's some guys at the gym, you've seen them for 3-4 years. They always train, but they haven't changed.
They look absolutely identical after 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you probably, in real estate, there's been people that like, they're in the space, they're in the industry, but you know, nothing is changing.
Interesting. That's 100% true. There's people that get to, let's say, $100,000 a year or $300,000 a year, and that's their wall.
Yeah.
And from there, this is in my opinion, you got to do something that you haven't done. You got to change something about you that you haven't done. For example, there was a time in my life where I had no money at all. So there was no money in my bank account, and I said, okay, this year's old, and here's my bank account. I'm just talking to myself, and I have nothing. I have no money, which means my mindset, no matter what I did my whole life, it's not working. I'm going to do the opposite of what I was going to do to see if this number changes. So instead, like, let's say you're thinking, oh, you know what? I'm too tired for the gym. You go to the gym. If you're like, oh, you know what? I don't want to do cold calls. I don't want to talk to people and they hang up on me.
Yeah.
Then you do it. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you don't want to do, do it. And then my bank account changed because I lived a life that I wasn't going to live.
So you flipped, basically whatever you felt good, you basically flipped it and you started getting the results.
100%. Yeah. But then again, you also get to a wall. So let's say you get down to maybe, 10% body fat, but then you're like, hey, I'm not getting down to 6% body fat.
Yeah.
You might hit that 10% body fat wall, and that's what happens in real estate too. Like, let's say that body fat wall is $500,000 a year. Now, how do you get to $2 million a year? That's the tricky part.
Yeah, I feel like in order to go somewhere you've never been, you got to become someone you never were, So
yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and with age comes wisdom. And I think the older I get, the more clear something is.
Yeah, so how old are you? You said you're 42, 43 right now?
Right now, 35.
35.
I feel 42. Yeah.
No, actually, you're 35? Because I remember you asked, you were like, 43, right? Or
I don't know, maybe it was a different conversation. No, 35. 1989. Yeah, born in 89.
1989. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So, was there like a phase in your life that you were like, you had to like completely transform yourself, like in all aspects? Like a specific age, maybe like in your 20s?
28.
28.
Yeah.
What happened?
28, my life changed completely.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, it happened a couple times in my life, but it gets to a point where if you ignore your destiny, it's going to come after you regardless. And it's going to come after you in ways that you don't want.
Destiny, like in what way? Are you talking about?
For example, let's say you have to be a fighter pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And let's say you're 23?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you were 21, and let's say it was, a letter came in the mail that said, hey, we're looking for Air Force pilots. You looked at it, it was interesting. Oh, I always wanted to become a pilot, this and that, but you ignored it. Now that you're 23, let's say World War III breaks out, and then they draft you in there, and now you have to be a pilot. They're like, hey, this guy sees, his eyesight is perfect, his reflexes are perfect, he can handle the G-force. Bro, I'm sorry, no choice to you. You're going to go become a pilot of this F-35 freaking jet. So it comes to a point in life that it forces you to do what you didn't necessarily maybe want or not wanted to do, but it's going to force you to do that one thing, regardless of what it is. And that's what happened to me at 28. I would say a real estate is something that I got pushed into, and then I was really good at. And then I kind of just grew from there. Yeah.
Did you have like previous experience, or just it was natural to you?
No, it was definitely not natural to me. I was 28 and my best friend Gokota at the time. We met up at 3 a.m. in a parking lot, and he was like, "You should get into real estate." And when he said real estate, it's like me telling you spacecraft engineering. And you're like, I've never even heard of that. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about?
So it was completely random for you.
I had no idea what real estate even means.
Did you, when you heard that, did you internally feel like it's the right move, even though it logically didn't make sense?
It was almost like, now that you're vulnerable, you have to do it. And it's almost like it's from God. And here it is again in your face. And if you ignore it again, it's going to happen again, but this time in a much worse way. So at that point, it was almost like you get good at catching what the world is telling you.
The signs?
Correct. The older you get, the more you see it. So when you're, let's say, 65 years old, you might slightly see something and you already understand what's going to happen. You can almost tell the future. So the older you get, the clearer things become. And at 28, for me, like at 21, I would ignore it. I'd be like, no, I'm going to go into this. I'm going to do this. I love cars. I love this, whatever. You're still not where you're going to be when you're 28. You don't know it now, but you're going to get it. It's like you at 14 and you right now at 23 is a huge difference.
Yeah.
Right? And you're looking back at yourself and you're like, bro, I was a kid. That same thing happens when you're 28, 35, 42, whatever. It's just every time you look back, you're like, wow. Yeah.
That is true.
It's absolutely true.
So you're saying that gut instinct feeling just felt right at that time. And you had no idea what's going on in real estate. You just got into it. You started doing things.
Absolutely. It was 2018. Again, 2018, I had no money. And at the time, I had cars. So I went from Inter-American Motor Corporation, and I had about, I want to say 6 or 7 classic cars, Benzes, BMs, whatever. Just classics, like 89 560 SLs, 80s and 90s cars. And, I collected them over the years, and I parked them, and I loved them, and, you get attached to it if that's your hobby. But this world, the way it works is it makes you sacrifice what you love for you to become what you should have become. Does that make sense? So one by one, I sold my classic cars, and I was studying for real estate to get my license because, bills, they don't stop. They keep going. And
can you repeat that quote again? We got to run it back.
Yeah, of course. So
the one that you said about sacrificing.
Oh, yeah. So basically, the way life works is it makes you sacrifice what you love. Whether if that's your girlfriend, whether if that's your cars, whether if that's your watches, it understands what you love, and it makes you let it go for you to grow into what you have to become. And that's what it did to me. At the time, I didn't care about girls. I didn't care about, guns. I didn't care about nothing. I loved my classic cars. And the world knew that. So the bills, they keep coming. It made me get rid of all my cars one by one. And I left the best one for last, the one I loved the most. It was a red 1989 560 SL, low mileage, beautiful car. Sold that too at the very end in order to pay bills. And then the funny part was I still didn't make it in real estate. It wasn't like, oh, okay, here's all your cars, you sold them. That's it. Now you're going to make it in real estate. That's not enough. It pushes you down and beats you down until it's like, now you can't handle it, So it got to a point where I was driving Uber, I want to say 14 to 16 hours per day, an insane amount. And as much as I could in between, I would give everybody my business cards. And I thought, oh, okay, I figured it out. I'm picking up rich people in Beverly Hills. I'm giving them my business cards. I'm going to sell real estate. But when you're 35 and now you're thinking about it, why would an actual, let's say, millionaire or a successful businessman give his business or trust a $5 million sale or $1 million sale to an Uber driver? So you can come up with great ideas, but it doesn't mean it's going to work. So then basically it got to a point where life was like, okay, I beat you, right? You're driving Uber all day. You can't figure it out. And I did this for months. Lost my girlfriend at the time. She was like, you're running out of money. I can't do this. This is super stressful. So she left, right? It got to a point to where, again, I had no money. It was just not enough. You can't drive a car that much in Uber and pay all your bills and support your parents and support a bunch of other people, right?
Yeah.
For me, it got to a point where I was like, okay, that's it. Like, I'm putting everything on pause right now. I took my Uber card with no money and I burned it. And I said, I'm either going to go homeless and die, or legit, I'm going to sell real estate and I'm going to make it. So fuck you, world, pick. You know what I mean? That was it for me.
Yeah.
Right when I did that, I got into 3 escrows and sold 3 houses and made around $60,000. So I was like, okay, here we go.
Okay.
You know? So then after that, that's when I realized I can sell, and it just went up from there.
So what you're basically saying is that basically the universe wanted to test you to see, okay, do you actually want this? And if you want this, you got to let this go to become this new version of yourself.
How bad do you want it? Yeah. And you have to prove it. You can't fake it. It understands 100% what you're going through. And if you think that's your limit, the world knows your limit. So you might be like, oh, this is it, I'm dying. But the world knows it can beat you down more. So that's the crazy part about life. I have friends that have lost everything. You know, thank God I didn't lose my parents or family members or other things. But there's people out there that got it way harder than just, you know, selling off their cars. So when you look back, it takes what you love and it uses it against you.
I see.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, a lot of people, they've gone through a lot of situations like that, because in my previous podcast, I had a friend who was saying, if you really believe in yourself, you have to go all in. You cannot half-ass it. Let's just say if you want to be... There's a lot of people who want to make videos, right?
Correct.
They're like, oh, I want to make videos, I want to do this. But they always have like, oh, I have a backup plan. You know, if this doesn't work, I'm going to do this. But what you're subconsciously telling yourself is that I'm not trusting myself enough. So just in case if something happens, I'm just going to have this.
Correct. There's no plan B.
Yeah.
If you have a plan B, it's not going to work. Now, what I have found that does work after many years is you have to start with no plan B. It's just plan A. You either go all out or you die. And then once you make it, let's say you make it, right? And some people won't make it, but let's say you do make it. Then you can open plan B, because now you made it in plan A.
Yeah.
So, and that's exactly what happened in my life. It's
Doors open.
Yeah, doors open. And guess what? We also opened a dental laboratory. That's plan B. But plan B is just as strong as plan A. So you'll get to, let's say, $1 million in your bank account. Now it's time to make a move. You can buy a body shop. You can buy a repair shop. You can buy a jewelry store. You can buy or create, a dental laboratory. And that's where you start really expanding into life. And then money brings money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I feel like a lot of people, they always you gotta have multiple sources of income, right? But they don't talk about the first part. You gotta have that one main thing first.
Correct.
Then you can diversify.
Because you actually have to bring value to the world. The world is gonna look at you and it's gonna say, okay, you're a fit guy. What value can you bring in this world? Guess what? There's a lot of fat guys. And maybe at one point in your life, the value you brought was, hey, I'm fat, you're fit, I want to be fit. Give me your knowledge and value so I understand how I can be fit. Because I want to feel good about myself, right? And then you gave them the value of, hey, you have to take things out of your schedule, take things out of your diet, take this out, because it's easier. You eliminate it, and then you're losing weight. And not a lot of people think about that.
Yeah.
They think, hey, what should I eat with this rice? Yeah.
No, that's a beautiful story. I feel like a lot of people would have probably given up on their, let's just say, their real estate dreams, aspirations. And it happens to a lot of people in different industries, like sports, music. And a lot of people, I keep seeing this pattern. They all say oh, I have this backup plan, I'm just doing this on the side. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, if you really believe in yourself, you're gonna make it work somehow.
Correct.
Like the friend that I was saying, we were making a video, we did a podcast like I want to say a month or two ago, and then he was saying, I forced myself to only make money through an entrepreneurial way. And he was 18. He was like, I'm going to college, but I knew that I'm gonna drop out.
Oh, wow.
I was just making content, I was posting content, I was like, I'm gonna do something. But he was like, I don't know how, but I'm gonna do it. And then when he was 18, at that time, like NFTs were going crazy, and he made like $1 million, and he was 18.
At 18 years old?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
But then it's like, he was like, I forced myself to not do anything else, because a lot of people are like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm also going to do this on the side. But also on this one, like the shiny object syndrome.
Right.
And it's like a very defensive mindset that you don't want to miss out.
Okay.
But it never serves you. And you probably experienced that in your life too.
Yeah. And there's an interesting part of that, which, I want to ask you, have you asked him where he is with his career now? The $1 million guy at 18 years old?
Yeah, so it's funny. He's like 21 right now. Okay. And he was telling me basically he lost all the money. He lost all the money. And then the NFT market, everything went down. And then he had to restart, but he started using the same skills because he had wisdom, he had new experiences. Of course. So he basically took his experiences from content, he started applying it to YouTube. Okay. He grew a YouTube audience, and then he started teaching people how to grow their own social media brands because he already proved it himself, right?
Perfect.
And then now he's helping people with TikTok Shop, which people are selling stuff. And then he's connecting brands to people, he's training the people basically to become creators. And he's growing like a lot. He's like 21, he's doing crazy for his age. Amazing numbers.
Good. And that's what life does.
Yeah.
What I've realized there's a pattern. Not only are you going to make it, but you're also going to lose it all. And you're going to keep losing it all until you actually learn. So there is a pattern there. I've gotten to, let me put it this way. I've had months where I've made $200,000 in a single month selling real estate. So 200,000 now, next month I'm going to make 180,000, next month I'm going to make 200,000, and then you have a $600,000-$700,000 year. But it doesn't mean you made it. Yes, people know you. Yes, you're making money. But you know what's in the background? Taxes, for example. Nice objects, for example. So you can make $1 million, but then that G-Wagon looks hella juicy. You know what I mean? And you think you're making smart moves. Oh, it's over 6,000 pounds, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to buy it, this and that. It's tax write-off. It's all excuses.
Yeah.
It's all excuses. You're getting the G-Wagon for something else. You're getting the G-Wagon because you want to feel like you made it in the world. But in reality, as you grow older, you realize that it's the guy that was driving the Toyota Tacoma that owns the $2 million brand new house that he built with his bare hands that's worth $4 million. And he's still driving that Toyota Tacoma. So in a way, in my sense in life, it taught me that, and I'm just talking about cars. What life taught me is the thing you love, you got to let it go, not just once, but you physically got to let it go. Give up your love for cars and actually learn the right wisdom. Taxes, S-Corp, corporations, have the right accountant, have attorneys, tax attorneys, get audited, go to the IRS building, sit down with, paperwork, go through 4 months of lawsuits back and forth with the IRS, then you might learn. So you will lose it not just once, but as many times as it takes until you actually learn how to be a man.
The game never ends.
Correct, the game never ends.
Lifelong student.
Just keeps going up. The level gets harder every time.
Beautiful.
This coffee has some wisdom in it.
The espresso, man. The espresso.
It is.
You were just mentioning that, how to lose weight, what to do to lose weight. And for most people, you just eat less. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, and that's what I realized is, accidentally, I lost 10 pounds. I just literally forgot to eat every day. I would just work. Okay, I'm starving, little protein shake, work. Then I get on the scale, I'm like, oh shit, it's gone. Yeah, but
it flies, it's fast.
Hopefully it stays off, that's the thing, It's sometimes you get into, especially I realized if you're ever dating a girl and you're just you have a routine of going to restaurants, and it's $200, boom, you gain 10 pounds, 20 pounds, like that. But she doesn't, but you do. You know what I mean? That's what happened to me, I don't know. Okay, guys.
No, I feel when you're in a relationship and you go out and stuff, I feel I don't know, it's just you you lose that edge. Like you lose that, you know what I mean? Like
with the wrong person, 100%.
Yeah.
I think there has to be a dynamic where, I mean, obviously I'm a man, where the woman respects the man in terms of what he does. And it can be slight things. For example, it can be something along the lines of, let's say she knows you're doing a lot of fitness right now, and let's say she knows you're filming all day. Let's say she knows that you're hustling, interviewing people all day. It's not an easy schedule. So let's say you come home at 9 or 10 p.m. It can be as simple as, hey, babe, I know you're really tired. Why don't you, go take a nice shower, steam room, whatever. Get some rest tonight at 10. There's girls that will keep you on the phone until 12, 1, 2, 3 a.m. And you're just on the phone. You're like, okay, Kyank, bye. And it's like, no, I want to talk to you more. It gets to a point where she's not showing that she respects your hustle. Mm-hmm. And guess what? The next day, you're going to wake up in 3 hours, 4 hours. You're going to have another tough day. The world doesn't care.
It builds.
So, of course. And then you're just exhausted. And then now try to have 6 months of exhaustion. Did you do better than the guy who was sleeping on time? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, as men, we're in competition with each other 24/7. Because it's like, let's say there's 100 single guys. We're all fighting for the same girls. But if 99 or 98 of those guys get all the girls, the 2 single guys or the guys, even if, okay, let's say 2 guys that have great relationships where the girl just respects the hell out of them, those 2 guys will go the furthest. And when you're with men and women, let's say in a wedding environment, let's say in whatever environment, a lot of men pay attention how the other guy's girl treats him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if she sees that, let's say the guy is sitting down, he's talking to his friend, and they're just having a good time, and then the girl goes in and brings them both, let's say, a bottle of wine, she pours it for them, this and that, then you're like, oh wow, it's Vonsa, how is she so amazing with you?
Different class.
Of course. Yeah. And it's a lot of people have lost that edge. So in today's Los Angeles dating, I don't know the world.
Yeah, and I feel like it definitely carries to your health, fitness, business.
Of course, it affects you. It affects you every second. And then it gets to a point where, do I give up the relationship so my business can go forward because it's affecting my business? Absolutely, that guy will let go of that girl for his business.
Are you in a relationship right now?
No.
When was the last time you were in a relationship, if you don't mind asking?
I want to say a year ago, year and a couple months.
Did that push you more forward or hold you back more?
The relationship I was in, I would say, it's very simple to say it did hold me back. It held me back a lot. And my brother didn't like it, my parents didn't like it, just everybody knew it wasn't healthy for me, if that makes any sense. But at one point, love is also blinding. So you have to understand, and the more you date, the more you understand these things. You have to understand, where is your cutoff? Do I respect myself more? And this relationship is not good for me. And it can be the very slightest things. It can be sleeping at 4 a.m. every day. But you also wake up at 4 a.m., so you get no sleep. So do you give up the girl because you want to sleep, because you want to survive? So it gets to a point where you have to have a balance. And if you're with the wrong person, you will not make it in life to where you were going to make it to if you were with the right person. For example, let's say you do vlogs with, great gentlemen. If you had a girl right now, hypothetically, and you're a single guy too, if you had a girl right now that's like, hey, babe, I found these 10 top guys and these 10 top girls, and they're killing it, and if you want, here's their email addresses and their phone numbers. Do you want me to call them and set up something for you? Will that help your business?
100%.
So theoretically, she could get involved and help you. The same way you get involved and help her. And as men, when we're courting women, I'm not saying all men, there's a lot of bad guys out there, but good men, we know what to do. Pick her up at this time, we're there on time, she gets out, we open the door, we're gentlemen, we pay for the food, we understand our duty. We expect women to understand their duty. But it's just not there. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I know a lot of guys, girls, a lot of people struggle, but for me, when I go to the deep of the problems, the core of the problems, and I feel like you can probably, know this more than me, it always comes down to the man.
It does.
And no matter, even if you're in a relationship and you're you're maybe with the wrong person, we chose that person.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I feel like if you're able to, make sure that we set the right standards for ourselves and the right boundaries, if it doesn't get crossed, then you're technically with the right person. If it does get crossed and we ignore it, or we ignore certain red flags and it comes back to bite us, then it's not necessarily because they were the wrong person. Mm-hmm. We let that happen.
Of course. Absolutely. And getting back to my original thought process is, let's say you're dating a 23-year-old girl. She already lived 23 years of her life.
Yeah.
She's already seen what her parents do and how they react to things for 23 years. The second you're dating her, she already has 23 years of life.
Yeah.
And let's say you want her to be a certain way for you. You can't change that within a couple months. And there's girls girls and guys, they don't change. Like if a guy is smoking, for example, and he's like, yeah, I'll give it up later. He's not going to give it up later. It's not going to happen. He's going to tell you he's going to give it up, and he's going to drag it on. And that's what I think happens in life. It's you got to find somebody who's ready and willing now. And dating also takes sacrifices. For example, I'm vegetarian since birth. And let's say I was dating a girl who is not vegetarian. And, there's a lot of, 99% of the girls, they eat meat. That's a sacrifice I have to make. So I have to say, hey, you know what? You can eat your meat. It's not going to bother me, even if it bothers me. And let's say the kids are going to eat meat. I have to be okay with that as a man. You have to give and take. You can't be fully like, hey, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be all my way, nothing your way, blah, blah, blah. You also have to see if she's willing to dance. Does that make sense?
That's very important, yeah. Being able to be adaptable and flexible.
Mm-hmm. You have to be patient. You have to be patient, but at the same time, you have to have self-respect.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Do you feel like, from your experience, is it the best thing, even though like those minor things may happen, the minor differences and, things that people may disagree, having a certain direction towards life and, having like a similar mission in life, that helps those things?
Yeah, I think now that, I've come to this, I want to say age point and mindset in my life, I'm 35, I've realized that if you need somebody you can go to war with. And when somebody breaks that door down, she gives you the gun. She's like, go get him. You know what I mean? Mm. She's behind you. You need that type of mindset with your girl where you're a team fully until both of you die. And if that's not the girl, then goodbye, So you need somebody that you can train with. Life is crazy. And you don't know where we're at right now. Like right now, everything's calm, everything's cool. We don't know where the world is going in 5-10 years. So you need somebody you rely on 100%, and they rely on you 100%.
That makes sense.
And keep the circle small. Don't listen to other people's advice if you're dating. Does that make sense? Especially what I learned in, just dating in general is don't take advice from divorced friends.
Or single people. Take advice from her dad, her mom, about her. If you come in and you're asking your brother, your own parents, hey, this is the situation I'm in, this and that, this is what's happening, guess what? They won't forgive her, even if you do. They're now going to have a grudge and resentment towards her. Yeah.
So in a way, you can really sabotage a relationship by talking too much about it.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, because
Correct.
If you always go to your friends and you only highlight the negative parts, that you're not going to talk about the positive parts.
She's always negative to them. And they're like, who are you dating?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like that's the same thing with like other aspects of life. It can be, again, business, success, finance,
everything.
Fitness. It's like you don't want to take advice from someone who doesn't have the results that you want.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. You put it perfectly.
Yeah, because like a lot of people just give advice in general, but do you really want to have that specific part of their life? Most of the times is no. Like even it can be your dad, mom. They may want the best for you, but they don't know what's best for you.
And sometimes to your parents, nobody's good enough. Because in their eyes, they love you the most.
Yeah.
You're a prince, in their eyes. So in their eyes, nobody is a queen. And you got to be careful about that too. I mean, love is a whole different subject that's very difficult to comprehend fully.
Yeah.
And I think you should get advice on how to treat women from guys that have been married for 20, 30, 40 years. Talk to the grandma. Just be like, hey, you've been with grandpa your whole life. Give me some dating advice. because they made it, something worked.
Yeah.
And then just make it your own.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people think it's about being, just super happy all the time with them, and you're just bubbly all the time with them. You're an adult now. It's like the happiness, the childhood stuff, this and that, goodbye. Now it's time to work. So when you see a really successful husband and wife in general, they're not just having fun all day in 20 years in marriage. She's handling business, he's handling business, everybody has their own tasks, everybody knows what to do, and it's not really fun. But they're just two people that now are, they're one. So it's just one united person, basically. And I think that's a successful dynamic that you should be able to grow. And that comes to relationship building. I don't know you that well. You don't know me that well. But if we spend enough time together and if we have enough hardship together, I know everything about you and you know everything about me. It's about creating long-term relationships.
Yeah.
And not with just women, men too. And if you have a brotherhood with 20 guys that are your ride or dies with 20 guys, you'll get out of all the problems in life. So, having strong male brotherhood bondship, one of the most important things.
So you're saying having the right circle of brothers is very important?
I would say even more important than having one woman. Because if there's a problem, if you call 20 dudes and they all show up at 3 a.m., you're going to solve that problem, no matter what it is. Money problems, whatever problems, danger, this and that. It's a group of strong dudes.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that we're sort of missing within our community. A lot of people are kind of good to each other, at least on paper.
One or two people, but not 20.
Yeah, it's not like something that people can rely on. It's not like a set of group of people that, okay, I can rely on these guys if I need help with real estate, if I need help with getting cars, buying cars, or crypto stocks.
Correct.
There isn't a set of group of people that you can trust,
Correct. Because can you right now call 20 guys, legitimately, I'm just asking you a legitimate question. Tomorrow, 5 a.m., they all show up to go hiking.
It's going to be tough.
That's what I'm saying.
It's going to be tough.
But imagine one group chat of gentleman's club, whatever, and you message, one of the guys just messages, 5 a.m. Glendale, y'all see you there. All 20 show up. They can do some damage.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like that's the type of group of people you need around yourself, right?
Correct.
And that's the thing. What I'm doing with my content is that I want to build that community like that for everybody, especially Armenian men, because most of us are immigrants. We came from a different country, different cultures.
Of course.
And when you detach yourself from your origins and stuff, it becomes very hard to reunite again. And I feel like a lot of Armenians have experienced that everywhere. We say, yeah, you're Armenian, but we're not really like this,
Correct.
Like
we don't have the brotherhood that you want.
For example, I said this in previous videos, Jewish people, you see, no matter where they're from, when someone is coming from a random country, they come to America, I got you. I'm going to give you money. I'm going to help you, get into this business, do this, connect with this person, and they elevate each other,
Correct.
And they genuinely push each other forward. And I feel like that's something that every culture needs, right? Not only them. And I feel like if we can have that sort of unity and impact within our culture, it's just going to be phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. And comes back down to building strong relationships.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you knew this, but most of the Fortune 500 companies and just big companies, they're owned by military people that were military before, veterans. And something they teach in the military is discipline. And a lot of the guys from the military, they know that mistakes cost lives, right? In here, you make a mistake, it costs you money.
Yeah.
But in the military, you make a mistake, your brother dies. You know what I mean? The guy you were training with for 4 years.
Life and death situations.
Correct. So they take it to a whole different level. And my brother has been 15 years in the U.S. Air Force. So a whole different dynamic of, I've been a civilian my whole life. He's been in the U.S. Air Force for 15 years. And I've, firsthand witnessed how he left and how he came back to what changed, right?
Yeah.
And this is your brother. You've been with him every single day for the rest, your whole life, basically. And one thing that did change is, in a good way, which I wish more men had, is even if he doesn't feel like it, he still does it. So the guy doesn't feel like going 5 a.m. tomorrow hiking with you, he will still be there at 5 a.m. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And another thing that he learned, which a lot of people don't know, is stay in your lane. So if I'm a real estate broker, that's all I got to do, real estate broker. If you're a mortgage lender, you're the mortgage lender. I don't answer mortgage questions. I don't help people with mortgage. I send them to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's what they do in the military. It's, hey, this guy's the sniper, stay in your lane. If the sniper says it's clear, then you go. So they applied that same philosophy into the civilian world. And he's just conquering, bro. Like every single thing that we do, he's just killing it. And when he doesn't feel like it, he's doing it. I'm sleeping at home. He is at the lab for 3 days. He doesn't want to be at the lab. He wants to sleep, right? He's still at the lab. So that's one thing that's very different from military guys to civilian guys. We haven't really been pushed to do something you don't want to do. You don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. and start running, 8 miles, but they do it. And they do it every single day to where now it's embedded. You wake up, you do your bed.
That's the standard they're living by.
Correct. Yeah. And they're brainwashed in a correct way, basically.
It's funny like how programmable our brain is. Like you can put the right stuff or the wrong stuff, and if you just repeat it, it's going to stay, bro. It's going to stay.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where I think my money changed was I started doing what I didn't want to do. And the same thing in the military. He does things every day that he doesn't want to do. I think that's like a very big secret in life. Yeah. Create great relationships and do what you don't want to do. You're going to make it in life.
And I think that's where like having the right circle of brothers comes in, because like a lot of the times maybe one day you're feeling low, maybe you're going through a breakup, maybe you're going through like financial stress. Another person can come and say, listen, like I know you're going through this, let's find a solution.
Yeah.
People's energy is very contagious, like just like affects each other, So I think if you're able to have the right people around you, you can be elevated by them, right? But if you have the wrong people, you can be going lower.
Correct. But another thing the military has is they take regular 18-year-old guys and they're working on F-35 $50 million jets. So the military doesn't care if you're the right guy or the wrong guy. They're going to make you the right guy. So we have to somehow, in real life, create relationships that are, you have to be the right guy, bro. You have to show up tomorrow at 5 a.m. And there has to be consequences if you don't. We don't have consequences in the civilian world. If you don't come to, like this, and I do a lot of tests just for fun. I posted something that said, hey guys, tomorrow, and I was going easy, bro. 8 a.m. we're going hiking on Sunday in Burbank. 26 to 28 people clicked yes, and I said, if you click yes, you're committed, you're going to show up anywhere from 7:30 to 8 a.m., and you're going to hike.
Yeah.
6 people showed up. Where are the other 20? You know what I mean? And then I realized that people are just way too easy on themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be a man of your word. You have to be, hey, my word is law.
You mean what you say what you mean, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because if I tell you tomorrow 5 a.m. I'm there, and then next time you tell me, hey bro, I'm short $3,000, can you please send it to me by Thursday? And I'm like, sure. You already know that I'm a reliable guy, and by Thursday, even before your deadline, the money's going to be in there. And that's one thing you got to learn is you got to teach yourself to do what you say you're going to do. Yeah. And you can start small, and that's like a muscle, that's a muscle in your brain. You can say, I'm going to do 10 push-ups. You get down, you do your 10 push-ups. If you say, I'm going to do 20 push-ups, you get down, you do the 20 push-ups. You can slowly work it out to where you become what you say you're going to do. Super important.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't put weight on their words. They just say things. And I feel like it's just escape. Like they don't want to be held accountable, you said. Like they don't want to be, going through hardship. They don't want to be made sure, like, okay, if I said this, regardless of if I'm feeling a bit sick, if I'm feeling tired, I got 2 hours of sleep, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do the work because I said so.
Correct. And that's what we got to do now. Starting now. And that's it. You can change yourself in 2 seconds. Just start doing it. Not saying that you're going to do it.
Yeah, that's a lot of things a lot of people say. They're like, oh, I'm going to do this. Like, if this situation goes well, I'm going to start doing this. That's why I feel like the moment that you make that mental shift, even if you go through a hardship, as you said, like when you were doing real estate, even though all those things were happening to you, you were losing this car and that car and financial hardship, because you told yourself, I'm going to do it. Like, I don't care what's going on right now. I'll make something happen. no matter how much progress I make, I'm going to keep moving forward, one step at a time, two steps at a time. And then suddenly that big break comes in.
Correct. And I think one of the most important things, I mean, I hope, if 20-year-old people out there are listening to this, or early 20s or 18, whatever you are, whatever your age is, stop caring what people think about you. When you're 35, you don't care anymore. When you're 65, you realize that nobody even remembers what you did. So stop caring. Everybody's like sometimes I'll sit down and I'm just listening. I'm very analytical. I'm very quiet, let's say sometimes. I can talk a lot, but I'm very quiet if there's a room of people. And I want to look at different people, different ages, where they achieve their life, and I'm just very analytical, of everybody. And I've realized that most people now in their 20s care about every detail. Oh, he walked by, he looked at me a little bit wrong. Why do you care? Or, oh, he walked by, and usually he says, hey, how are you? But now it's hey, why did you notice that? It doesn't matter how he is, what he's doing, or she. Don't care what they think, say, or do. You do you, and keep pushing. But at the same time, don't have an ego where you don't want to learn. Does that make sense? And I think in the 20s, just stop caring because they don't care about you. Does that make sense? So why are you caring what they think? And that's it. When you're 35, then you realize. And I can bring this example to something along the lines of, you're at the gym, you're working out. Actually, I'll bring a perfect example. There was a guy young at the gym, and I like to babble, I like to talk to people. I'm a salesman, I'll talk to somebody in an elevator, And I know everybody at the gym, literally everybody. I know every single car everybody drives, I know what time they come to the gym, the same guys show up at the gym, everything. Every girl at the gym, I know them all. I don't hit on them. So you have to have rules. Mine is, don't shit where you eat. Don't hit at the girls at the gym that you're working out at.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make clients. I'm trying to make buyers. This girl was at the gym, and she's a cute girl, cute Armenian girl. But I knew that she had a boyfriend, and I knew that, I knew her from when she was single to when she got a boyfriend to where she was engaged to where she was going to get married. So I knew kind of the whole timeline of her, because I was going to the gym for 8 years, This guy had a crush on her for years, and he never approached her. He knew her from when she was single to when she had a boyfriend to where she got engaged, but he always thought that she was single. And he was always very quiet, very to himself, fit as hell, tall, fit, has a great job, everything, bro. He had everything for himself. He never approached her. Then one day, one of my other friends was like, hey, can you ask for this friend if she's single? Because we saw you talking to her. I'm like, she's engaged. That guy stopped going to the gym for months. So, in a way, stop caring what she's going to think. You see a girl that you like, take your opportunity. Go up there, hey, my name is so-and-so. I come to this gym too. I saw that you come to this gym. Are you okay if we work out together once or twice? Oh, sorry, I'm engaged. No problem at all. I didn't mean no disrespect. I hope to see you around at the gym. Have a great workout. Done. But now you know that you're not going to approach this person. And it's the guy lost opportunities because he cared too much.
The perfect moment, fear of rejection, all this stuff. Yeah.
It's just go for it. Stop caring what's going to happen. Do it and find out what's going to happen.
You're saying it's just fear of judgment, fear of
everything,
loss.
Everything. Everybody cares about everything. Stop caring about everything.
There was this quote I saw. I don't know who said, Nietzsche, I think he said, or someone else. It's all defeats are psychological, unless it's death, basically. If it's not death, it's just meaningless.
The most amount of knowledge is buried underground. All the guys that lived for the thousands of years, it's all buried. They all died, bro. And this world is one of those things that you think everything matters, but even this right now, this video, us talking, 100 years are going to pass. We can't stop time. It's just going to keep going. Nobody's going to know this.
We're just like a dust in the whole timeline of
and
life.
If you think, 100 years matters, okay, let's go 20,000 years. 20,000 years are going to pass. You can't do anything about it. They passed. The pyramids were built, right? Yeah. The flood happened. You don't remember that one guy that didn't approach the girl in the village? Nobody cares. Nobody. So that's why just go for it. You're going to die anyway. And just have fun, be a good man, help other people, and just do what you can. Done. Yeah, have that in the back of your head.
Yeah, I feel like if you live once, so might as well just live it like fully.
Yeah, no regrets. Message that girl. Like, let's say even today, guys don't even approach girls in real life anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's just Instagram. And it might work for you, right? Oh, out of these 200 girls that I added, these 3 added me back. This one that I'm messaging is replying. What are you doing, bro? You know what I mean? What are you doing? If you want the girl, approach the girl that looks cute everywhere. At the gym, don't have regrets. You're single if you're single, right? John's Marketplace, Starbucks, whatever. Bro, the guys racing up and down Glen Oaks, they're crazy, bro. Sometimes, like, you'll go, I saw it personally. Like, they come up to a girl, they, like, corner her on the car. They slap the car with their car. Give me your number, give me your number. I've seen a guy throw his phone in another girl's phone, calling his own phone to get her. Like, and that guy has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he's still doing that. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be obviously not nasty like that, but you want to have a level of where you're elegant, you're a gentleman, but don't have fear.
You're saying ingrain that go-getter mentality. Like, if you see something, go for it.
100%. And that's going to give you crazy opportunities, not just with girls, right? A lot of guys want girls, but it's going to give you opportunities in real life. So if you're in an elevator and I'm in an elevator, I want to crack the ice of the silence in the elevator. We got 30 seconds, and I'm going to say, hey, how's your day going, bro? And you're going to be like, oh, great. Oh, that's awesome. What do you do at this office? Oh, this engineer. Oh, shit, no way. Boom. Hey, what's your Instagram at the end, right before he leaves? Oh, this. Boom. That's it. I have 3,650 contacts in my phone. In my phone that I can personally call. Not Instagram, just phone. That means literally I spoke to people. Oh, what's your number? Boom, grab their number. 3,600, bro. That's a crazy number. And every time I go to people, I'm like, Matt, let me see how many contacts you have. 112. I'm like, bro, you're not talking to anyone. 112 what? You know?
That is low.
Yeah.
Mine is probably in that range, like 200-300 nights.
3,000, 4,000,
Rookie numbers,
bro. Rookie numbers.
Just stacking numbers
we
like that.
We gotta pump those numbers up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wolf of Wall Street.
You remember that?
Yeah. Shout out to Matthew McConaughey, one of the best actors in my opinion.
Really good actor, and a really good human being.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think like a lot of people are just scared of volume.
Yeah.
Just volume, and like you would be surprised how much volume improves you.
It's a muscle.
Yeah, there was this like quote Alex Ramosi was saying is like you gotta be doing so much volume that it will be foolish of you to not to succeed.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, if you do something really well, there's no way you won't be good at it.
Like, I'll give an example. Like until 18,
okay,
I was very, very like introverted. I just didn't want to be in public. Wasn't going anywhere. Like I wasn't talking to any people.
Okay.
I just hated being in front of a camera. Suddenly, just decided to like start making videos.
Why?
I just like it was like random. I was like, I just want to make videos. I started making soccer-related videos. I was talking about my favorite team. Like at the time I didn't know what to talk about. I was like, oh, I like this. I'm just gonna make videos about this. So I started posting videos about that, and then I can show you my first video. It was literally I was like, yeah, guys, today we're gonna talk about this team, and it was just like very bad. Okay. Right? But after like 50 videos, it didn't get that much better. And another 50 videos, it didn't get that much better. But then after like 100, 200, 250 videos, it's like when you're on live streaming for like, there was this live stream I did for 3 hours. And there was like 4,000 viewers, like they came in. It's like, you have to be performing for 3-4 hours. You have to be high energy.
Oh, wow.
It changes over time, and that shifted in 1 year. Basically forced me to like start doing public interviews. I was just going up to people like, do you want to be in a video? Just asking random questions. This would be like crazy. Sometimes there would be like a group of like 6, 7, 8 girls in a beach. I would just walk up to them, just sit next to them, and start talking to them, and then suddenly I'm gonna start eating their fruits, hanging out with them, and then 30 minutes would go by.
Hell yeah.
If I like planned something, it wouldn't work, right? Like if I go back maybe 2-3 years ago at that time, that would be like, what did you do? Like, that's not possible. Or a lot of guys, they may be like great looking, they may have the best careers, but it's just like that's something, the mindset just changes everything. The confidence, the energy that you display, I feel like no matter where you're at in your life, if you have that energy, it just carries you to so many different places. And I feel like especially in sales, like I know for a fact you know that the best because I have friends in the sales industry, like different sales, like online sales, real estate, cars. That energy that you bring just makes all the difference.
Of course. Yeah, sales is, in my opinion, you can't learn it from a book.
You have to be in it.
You have to be in it. You cannot learn sales on YouTube. You cannot learn sales from YouTube celebrities that you think, oh, wow, they're teaching me sales. You can't buy courses to learn sales because it's like this. Watch. We're samurais. We're about to go fight a war. Okay? And I'm going to show you these giant books of how to be an awesome samurai. And you're just there reading it like, oh, yeah, oh, wow, this move is so sick. This move is so sick. And then I'm going to show you physically, this is how you cut. Mm-hmm. But you've never cut. And now it's time to go to war. And there's a guy that he has never seen any books. He has never done anything, but he has done this move 5 million times.
He knows it the best.
He knows this move 5 million times, and he knows that move 5 million times. So he's going to draw his sword, and he's going to slice you in 0.1 seconds, and you're going to be like, oh shit, there was all these cool moves I was going to do. But you're already dead. So that's sales. You can't learn it. You have to get out there and slice 5 million times. And you have to understand that sales is an always evolving process. A dog will come up and sniff you, and he'll categorize you. He'll say, okay, this guy is like this, and this is what he does, and he's not very aggressive. Cool. 5 years later, that dog will remember you. He'll sniff you again. I remember this guy. He was cool. He petted me this one time. He categorized you. In sales, I've met 50,000 people, let's say, in person. I've done 300, 400,000 sales calls with them because I met them so many times. I've been in 2 million different situations to where if you're talking to me in any way, I'm already categorizing guys that were similar to you, what they said, and how to get them to buy what I want them to buy. So that's sales, and you can't really teach it. You have to do it.
Just the skin in the game. You got to go through it.
Correct.
What's like the most common thing that you notice that's basically applies to most people with sales?
The most common thing is the best salesmen are naturally evolved into sales, and they're usually really bad with school. That's what I've realized. So really high-end salespeople that sell big ticket items, that sell tons of volume, that sell tons of cars. It was the guy who was 3, 4, 5 years old. He was the clown in the class, and he's been developed into already just talking to anybody since he was a kid. It comes very naturally to him. He's an attention seeker, just like a dolphin. You'll go out, they want to show you what they can do, their flips and stuff like that. That's a natural salesman. That guy is very hard to beat because you can't go to school and learn business and then beat this guy in a sales call. There's no way. If that guy gets on the phone, by tonality, by the speed of the guy talking to him, by everything, he's already analyzing who he's talking to. And he is either going to start mirroring the guy, start talking at his speed, his tonality, everything to relate with the guy within seconds.
Yeah.
To where the guy's like, I like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boom, sold.
Yeah, I think that's where the energy comes in.
Correct.
Like,
and
based on the books, like if you just say like, you probably read sales books like, oh, you got to do this at this time and this time and that time. I mean, it probably can work, but if you're in the moment, most of the times you don't even remember. You just got to wing it. And like, that's when like the personal experience comes in.
You're at war.
Yeah.
You're at war. And I've before I used to have like smartwatches on. You don't even have a watch on.
No.
And during hard sales calls, like really, really high end, everything's at stake, and just like, this is it, this is your shot with this guy. My heart rate was at like 160 throughout the whole time. But I look really calm. But my heart's going insane. And I'm analyzing every twitch, every word, every detail of this person, and then I'll do a successful sales call. It's a very high-end sport when it gets to very high-ticket items. Then you gain enough experience to where you even bring that back down to where you're actually calm and you're just naturally doing it. And if you have something to lose, this is the next level, they sense it off of you. Okay, because if the guy is like, oh, this guy has a Rolex, he just pulled up in a G-Wagon, this and that, whatever, he doesn't have anything to lose.
Yeah.
Let's say if the guy decides that, you have a better chance to do that sales call than not. Then you get to a point where the guy is like, oh, I know this guy. He's had Rolexes, G-Wagons, whatever, and he just came in with jeans and a shirt. That's even a next level. So there's just level after level after level. So if I'm coming in and I'm talking to somebody and I own half of Glendale Apartments, and if they know that, I have the upper hand in that sales conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's just like, you think you're like, oh wow, I'm good. And then there's the next level. And then you're like, oh wow, I'm actually really good. And then there's the next level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're going to always suck in the next level.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's levels. Yeah. It's just like fighting a grandmaster. He's like 12 black belts. And you have one. And he's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From your experience in sales, how important is it to basically be able to walk away from the deal, regardless of the result?
Personally, never walk away from a deal. Go through it because you're going to gain experience. Unless you know that the deal is bad for the client.
Okay.
Yeah. Or, me personally, I've never walked away from a deal.
In the sense of, I mean, like,
Give me like an example. So I have.
for example, there is like a certain level that you're not going to cross in the deal.
Okay. If it's legal, ethical, and moral, do it. Other than that, don't do it.
I see.
Yeah.
So
it
you're
has
saying it's
to
worth
be.
the experience?
Correct. Yeah. Unless you're about to do fraud, something illegal, something immoral, there's no honor in it, don't do it. That's when you walk away, when you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. And if I did that, I would have made 10 times more money in my career. But I've never crossed that line.
What do you think about people using psychological tricks, the manipulative ones that, let's just say, they use maybe ego tactics to flip things around to get a deal done? What do you think about that?
I mean, and I'm just talking at my level. Again, there's so many more levels above me. I can read people really well. So if somebody's feeding my ego, I already know. And that means that if you're talking to somebody at a high level, because real estate is in the millions, and you're talking to somebody who made the millions, which means they're already at a high level. You're talking to a businessman that owns 8 car washes, 4 gas stations, has $16 million in the bank, and he's buying a house for his parents. You think that guy doesn't feel or sense what you're doing? He feels and senses everything. So he's already above your level. Does that make sense? So in a way, you're a pawn fighting in a fight with kings. Unless you're actually good, actually honorable, actually doing the truth, actually trying hard, he will sense it. If you try to feed his ego, he will sense it. If you try to lie to him, he will sense it. And it's an extremely difficult game of chess. Yeah.
I feel like from the experience that I've had, like I used to do sales in the fitness coaching space, especially at a gym. I used to work at Gold's. And one thing that nobody really told me was that you got to focus on the benefit of the person, right?
Okay.
They were like, always, you got to say this word, if this objection comes, do this, do that. But the best ones that I noticed from the people that I've seen around, they're there for the person.
Yes.
They want to make sure that person gets everything that they need and want and
of course.
they deserve to make sure that guy's satisfied. They don't try to play games. They don't try to find the next objection, secret or whatever, closing secret or whatever. They just want to help that person. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Treat everybody like if they're your brother. That's how I treat people. Like I always tell my clients, I'm like, bro, me personally, if I decide I'm going to do real estate for 10 years and then I'm just going to own a bunch of properties and just focus on something else, these 10 years are going to pass anyway. You might buy, you might not buy. It doesn't matter, okay? I'm going to treat you like I'm going to treat my brother. But I'm going to do things that are good for you. You might not understand what I'm doing, but I'm going to push you in ways that later you might thank me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So sometimes it depends on, for example, I have a lot of first-time buyers that message me. Kids are 23, 24, 25. To me, they're kids. And they're like, hey, I'm getting engaged. I want to get a house, blah, blah, blah. Then they see the payment and they're like, oh, wow, I can't do this, right? But if I know that they can, and if I know that later this house is going to be worth $500,000 more in a couple years, I know from my experience that this is a good decision for them. Now it's up to me for them to get that house because I know it's good for them. Then once they get it and here's the keys, they thank you forever. So sometimes you have to be able to explain things in ways where people do get the house even if they're extremely scared. But then later on they will thank you. A business decision, a purchase, or not to purchase. Sometimes I'll tell them, hey, we got to get out of this transaction. Like, you're not ready to buy, I'm sorry. And you will have those conversations as well. So sometimes you have to know when not to sell. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that no matter what you're doing, move with honor, move with, the right principles, and actually want to help them, even if it means you may not benefit at that moment.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And in real estate, this is one of the highest, this is the biggest transaction for people in their lifetime. Yeah. For most people, they don't buy jets and boats and stuff. So most people, the house is the biggest thing they'll ever do. It's extremely stressful, and if you can't explain it correctly and guide them correctly through it, it's almost like war. Like, hey, tomorrow, me and you, we have to go to this place, and we have to go from here to there, and they're going to shoot at us from everywhere, but I got you, bro. We're going to do it like this. And if they're like, okay, this guy's a crazy warrior, and I'm going to survive, it's scary, but we're going to survive. And that's kind of like, picking your own broker or who you're going to work with is, are they going to deceive you? Are they doing it for themselves? Are they doing it for you? Do they really care that if you survive? There's so many moving aspects. And to find the guy that really takes care of you is extremely hard in every business situation. The stockbroker, you think he doesn't want to share, sell stocks to you? The guy who sells cars, you think he doesn't want to sell cars to you? The guy who sells watches, you think he doesn't want to sell watches to you? And people have that muscle of, hey, this guy's just a salesman. He just wants me to, buy this car. How many times you went to the dealership and you hate the dealer because he's trying to he's pushy as hell.
Yeah.
They're like, bro, calm down. I don't want to talk to your manager. I don't want to see these numbers. And you got to be able to really guide them if it's good for them. For example, you can get a G-Wagon or a Toyota Tacoma. They both drive you from A to Z, but you have to explain to the guy that wants to buy a G-Wagon why he should get the Tacoma. No.
How easy, this is the wrong question. How do you go about finding out what the person thinks in a way that just say they want to make a purchase? Like their mental process. They want to make a decision.
Very easy. With their behavior. So if I'm talking to somebody, I'm constantly seeing it starts with respect. If I say, I'll see you at 3 p.m., I'm analyzing, remember, from A to Z everything. And I'm there at 2:55, 5 minutes before. And the doors are open, the lights are on, everything's on, the AC's on, everything's ready for you to come and just check out the house at 3. I expect you at 3. I love what I do. I expect you to respect what I do. Because I could be showing it to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
And if the guy shows up at 3:01 even, 3:02, and doesn't text, hey, I'm running a little bit late or whatever. There's so many levels to different things. There's people that show up with coffee in hand. It's 2:59, they'll be like, here, bro, I got you some coffee, blah, blah, blah. And that's when every single little detail matters. How do they respect you? What's their behavior towards you? And depending on how they treat you is how you're going to do the sales call. Let me give you an example. There's people that are yes people, and there's people that are no people towards you. They're different towards everybody else. It's an always moving chessboard, okay? For example, you can say something along the lines of, let's say you're with a girl. I'm just going to do a girl example. And you're like, hey, baby, let's go get some pizza. She's like, no, I'm in the mood for sushi. She's already leaning towards a no. No matter what you would have said, she was going to switch it. If you were going to say sushi, she was going to say pizza. Inadu, right? You can already categorize her as a no person slowly. And you can do it over and over again. Hey, I'm getting this white shirt. Should I get this white shirt? It's nice. No, you look better in black. Even if you do look good in white. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, the guy or girl that you're with, you can slowly categorize that person in 2 areas. That's the first thing you do is, are they a yes or a no person? Now, if I categorize you as a yes person, and I'm at the house and it's 3 p.m., and usually yes people show up on time, then if I'm being honest with you, and if I'm like, this is a good house, look, the roof is old, we don't know the condition of the plumbing, AC is a little bit old, but honestly it's a good house. If we can drop 20, 30 grand, this is a good deal. You're like, handle it, bro, go, gazdur. You're already a yes person, you're agreeing with me. And I'm being honest with you, this is a good house, this is that. There's gonna be no surprises down the line when we get in escrow. I sold you the house, you're happy, I'm happy, we respect each other, we have a good relationship. If I categorize you as a no person, I can still sell you the house. You just have to know how. So if you show up at the house, you're a little bit late, 3:15, you pulled up with your G-Wagon, crazy music, your girl gets out, lips are all injected, everything's cool, and you're like always saying no to me.
Yeah.
And that's just, a crazy example. There's going to be comments on that. And,
we love that.
Of course. So let's say he shows up, and if I'm like, oh, wow, this is a nice kitchen. Oh, bro, this kitchen sucks. And then I'm like, oh, wow, this is a crazy view. Bro, you haven't seen a view. This is nothing. And I'm like, bro, this roof is in really bad condition. Bro, the roof will last. No matter what you say in any way, they always disagree. This is how you sell them. You say, bro, I don't think you should put an offer on this house. Or I'll put an offer on this house. You know what I mean? You got them already. That's it. And then if you want to say something along the lines of, bro, we shouldn't go over 100 grand over on this house. Like, just don't do it. It's not worth it. 200 grand over, bro. Yalla, now. You sold him the house and he did all the damage to himself. Does that make sense? You just worded it in a way for him to say that you're wrong, but you got to the point that you wanted for him to get the house. But if you tell him, I think you should get this house, he's going to say no. So you have to say, I don't think you should get this house.
Why do you think that is?
Boom. Ego, and they want to feel like, oh, it's just like, that bites you at the end. So you have to be, at any level, very humble. Don't be a no or a yes person, but actually analyze and listen to what the person is saying. Me as a salesman, I'm actually very neutral. Very neutral. I'm not yes or no. I'm curious. Yeah.
I feel like that's where you got to be neutral.
You got to be neutral, you got to be curious, and you have to be positive. Happy, positive demeanor, neutral state of mind. Because if your girl pisses you off right now, and you're just angry as hell in the morning, and you just had a fight driving there, and you're about to come in and look at this house, you're not looking at the house. You're thinking about the fight and what she said. So you didn't really analyze the house. Does that make sense? And then you can make a wrong business decision. You can blow $2 million on a house that should have been 1.7. You just burned 300 grand. And you have to work hard for those 300 grand. You just burned 6 months of your life. So everything matters.
How can you go about being in that neutral state?
That takes training. So me personally, I have a very high tolerance of, you can't get me angry. I will laugh it off. I'll make a joke of it. I won't think anything about it. Somebody can block you all they want, just whatever.
Yeah.
That's how you have to be. Just calm, relaxed, analyzing. Now you're an adult.
You go
tantrums.
I was just going to say, you go from a state of from a state of reacting to respond.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off though.
No, that was perfect. And that's actually even better than what I was going to say. So, yeah. And that's the difference between kids. A kid and an adult, there should be a difference. But people were just kids for too many years, and now they're just a giant kid. Yeah.
So you're saying you just have to be neutral in the sense of don't take things personally, correct?
Just 24/7 neutral. And then you can make correct decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when you're in that neutral emotional state, your brain is not clogged.
Correct.
Because emotions, they're energy in motion. They're always moving. So if you just attach yourself to this emotion, you're but the moment you hop off the bandwagon, you're just it's going. But you're you feel things, you see things, as you said, you observe things, but it doesn't take you with this, circle emotion. You just stay there, it goes around you.
Correct. Yeah, be neutral, but also be a doer. So
what do you mean by that?
So you can also sit back and analyze everything, but you're not doing anything. So you have to be able to be neutral even when you're laughing. You have to be neutral even if you're acting angry. You know what I mean? So, but inside you have to be at peace. Like a samurai, let's say. He's going to war. He's not afraid of death. You know what I mean? He's seen a lot of blood. He's fought a lot. He's done, thousands of battles or whatever. He's killed thousands of people. But inside, he's not angry or this or that. He's just very neutral. And he's just doing his job. At this point, it's just muscle memory, and he's just moving through. He's just slicing and winning. Does that make sense? And that's kind of how you have to be in real life. There can be noise everywhere, but you can't let it affect you. Your girl yells at you. She says something wrong. She went out with your friend, and you're about to go into an interview. If you're trained enough, you will ace that interview. But if that whole thing affected you, you're going to come in, the guy interviewing you is going to be like, hey man, something off? He's going to sense it off of you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There was this book that I read, and he was talking about this law called the law of pendulum.
Okay.
And he was saying the energy is just going to always go like this way or this way. It's going to go like this way. If you go with that swing, you're going to be basically a slave to the motion of the world. So you have to, at some point, hop off that pendulum to be able to be actually seeing things and how everything works. You have to be detached from that pendulum.
Correct. And one thing, I don't know if people know statistics and other things. It's the world will push you for you to be emotional, and it's going to watch your pendulum. Like it's going to keep pushing harder and harder to see where do you break. So if you don't break, and you actually, like the world knows that, hey, this guy is ready to die unless he starts selling houses. It's going to let you start selling houses because it knows you learned your lesson. Does that make sense? And that's where it will keep making you sacrifice things for it to reward you. So the faster you get to that neutral state of mind, the success, relax a little bit, and just actually get there, the faster it'll reward you to what you actually deserve. Not want, deserve. Yeah.
That goes back to the example that you were mentioning about, you basically having to sell all of your cars to make it in the real estate space, is that you had to let everything go. You had to sacrifice that version of you that wasn't willing to give up everything.
Correct.
To get what you wanted.
Yeah, I had it easy. I'm telling you right now. Like my life was hard compared to a lot of people I talk to, but I know a lot of people that had it way worse. They lost their mom. They lost their 25-year marriage. Their kids hate them. But the guy is making 100, 200 grand now as a divorced man. He let go and lost everything, and now he created a business that's doing great. Then he finds the correct wife. He gets kids with her. He gets married. Everybody starts being jealous of him. But he also went through that. It's just his was way worse than selling off a couple cars. So there's different levels to everything. And the more stubborn you are, the harder it hits. Yeah.
What does it take to push through those hard times?
I would say just training. Yeah. It's just like the whole world is the same. Everything is the same. It's just different concepts. Right now, you can't bench press 450 pounds. So you're asking me, what will it take for me to bench press 450 pounds? You have to go to the gym, bro. You have to hit it. You might have to go get on steroids, but you don't want to be on steroids. But guess what? You're going to bench that 450.
That's what it takes.
That's what it takes. Now you're asking me, hey, here's the 450. I want the 450. And guess what? A lot of guys don't get to the 450 pounds. I never got to the 450 pounds. Have you ever gotten to 450 pounds?
No.
Has Arnold Schwarzenegger got to 450 pound bench press?
Maybe,
right? But those big guys out there, they did. But they did shit that they were like, oh wow, I don't want to do that. That's scary as hell. My heart might pop. But they did it anyway, and they got to it. So it's the same thing in business and life and everything. Yeah, it's all the same, just different concepts.
You just have to sacrifice basically what it takes.
Correct.
The version of you that's not there has to go. It has to dissolve completely.
Correct. And I used to do background for movies where I was just walking around behind Brad Pitt, behind Angelina Jolie, just every probably actor you can think of, I walked in the background. And I asked, whenever they were on break, I always asked them, hey man, how did you get to where you got, how did you get there? Every single actor said the same thing. I was almost getting angry by the answer. It was, just don't give up. And I was like, man, just tell me something else, bro. Just tell me something else. And that's it, just don't give up.
Yeah, and I think that makes total sense, because whenever those moments of chaos hit you, the only thing you can do is just not give up. If you do, then you're basically going to square zero.
You lost.
Or you're losing the battle. But as long as you're not giving up, you keep moving forward, even if it's like half a step, one step, you're technically making progress. You're technically on the verge of becoming successful in whatever you're doing.
Exactly. Let go of the things you love and get to places that you should have gotten to. Do you know how many cars held back so many great guys from opening businesses?
Cars? Like in what sense? Like buying cars?
Yeah. Like, for example, I know guys that went and bought a GT3 RS, Ferrari, G-Wagons, this and that. Bro, you could have bought this business. You could have bought this business. You could have bought this business. But then they went and traded in their car and lost $100,000 on the G-Wagon. That $100,000 mattered. And that $100,000 could have been a business. It could have been a down payment on a house or a duplex that you were going to rent out that was going to get equity. So don't get what you love and you want. Get what you know is right. Because you know, deep down, you know what's right.
The discernment, the natural discernment.
Correct. And people lie to themselves in order to get things that they think they deserve. You don't deserve those things right now. No. And that's that comes with age. That comes with age. In the beginning, you're like, oh man, this feels great. This Porsche, all this great. I've had a Porsche. Thank God it was COVID and it went up. I got it and I sold it and made 30, 40 grand. Mm-hmm. Whatever I made, I lost on the G-Wagon, So it's like you learn. And until you learn your lesson, life is just going to keep slapping you.
Yeah.
That's it. Just stop getting slapped. Do it right now. You have the power to let go right now and do what's good for you.
So you're saying everybody has that natural, intuitive knowing of, okay, this is not what I'm supposed to do. I got to do this.
Correct. How many guys you know that just smoke weed all day? They're just high all day.
Good amount.
Correct. And they know they shouldn't be smoking weed. You think they don't know? They know, of course they know. How much money do you think they're spending on the weed?
Good amount.
And it's burning their time, their money, and they're not really doing anything that's mattering in the world. They're not adding any value.
Their potential basically goes to waste.
Correct. So that's why, most of the crazy ideas, the best ideas, or the most talented people, they're all in the grave. Yeah, it's gone.
Let's just say you've gone through this phase in your life, like in your late teens, let's just say, or early 20s. Mm-hmm. And no matter what the person is doing,
okay,
they're in a phase in their life that they don't have those bad habits.
Okay.
They're trying, they're doing certain things to move forward, and they may not know it's going to work. They may not know if it's the right system, if it's the right path, but they have a desire and they have energy, and they're just doing things to move forward.
I've seen those guys.
But the results aren't there. Mm-hmm. What would you tell them?
And I know a great example of guys that are like that, where everything they're doing is correct. Everything they're doing, they think is correct, but they're still not doing the things that they wouldn't have done. So they still get in a habit. And if your money hasn't changed in your account, you got to try something else. Not in terms of career, but change your style. And everybody has a style. For example, me personally, hayranov katakasserem.
You like jokes?
I love jokes.
Yeah.
I'll do crazy jokes. I'll go into a house, if you're in a sales, thing with me, it's a vibe. Yeah. I'll joke around, you'll joke around, everybody's laughing throughout the whole showing. That's just my natural approach that I developed. Because I'm like, oh wow, I'm funny? Okay, let's work on that. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do too, is you got to be like, okay, I'm selling, but the way I'm selling is very professional, but it's not working somehow. Right now, it's not working, but this one I did work. Work on that one, what you did there, and expand it. Does that make sense? Maybe in that one, you were just like, you created this crazy vibe of, everything about that house and neighborhood.
Yeah.
Do that with the next one. Do that with the next one. Do that with the next one. So, that's what it is. Just develop your fighting style, almost.
Okay, that makes sense.
I realized that when people are having fun with me, when people are like laughing around with me and this and that, I create a whole different vibe. It's almost like hypnosis. Everybody is like high at the jokes, at the place, they're vibing, it's memorable. People pay to go to a comedy club. People pay top dollar to sit in the front to see their favorite comedian. So it's because of how it makes you feel. Me personally, this is just my, sales approach. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Everybody has different ones. There's many different fighting, styles out there. If I can get the person to laugh, and if I can get the person to have fun, then their guard is down. And now I can be honest. Because if I'm honest, but they don't know me, their guard is up. Does that make sense?
You must be having a hard time keeping girls away, huh?
Correct. yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Like when I was like working at Gold's, like all the sales guys there, they just had this like magic with their words, bro. Like it was just landing perfectly. It was just smooth, like, and for some reason, most of the girls at the gym, they like them, bro.
It's a craft.
Yeah, it is a craft.
It's a craft, and they've been, sharpening the sword for the last 3 years.
Exactly.
So that's what's happening. What I was going to say is, if you're a young guy, and if you're doing everything right, but your bank account is still low, then you don't know what you don't know. You can't. There's very few people that can invent new styles. Like it's me telling you, here's Kung Fu, here's 200 pages of Kung Fu, now go invent your own fighting style. Good luck, You can't. Maybe out of 10,000 guys, one can invent a new fighting style. And then that can become jiu-jitsu, or that can become whatever. It's not like every single guy knows a different fighting style. We all learn the same thing. So if you come to a point where you're like, man, no matter how much I fight, I always lose. And my bank account is still $1,000. No matter how good I am and how early I wake up and how much I go to the gym and how cool I am, my bank account is still $1,000. Then there's information out there that you just can't invent. Your brain cannot invent. So that's when you go and get a coach and you're like, hey man, I need you to judge me honestly. What's going on? And then he'll tell you, hey man, I'll be honest, you're not confident. You wake up early, you hit the gym, you look really good. But when you're talking to me, I don't believe you. Even though I know you're honest, I just don't believe you, bro. You're just too young. How can you sell me this $2 million house? You're 18 years old, bro. Why would I trust you with this millions of dollars when I can trust this 50-year-old guy that's been doing it for 30 years, for example, right?
Absolutely.
So that's a great question he's asking you. Now, you got to have an answer for that. That's what I'm saying. So that's why sometimes you just have to keep going. And then when you hit the plateau and you're like, man, I'm just not making any money. Yeah, that's when you get a coach.
So you're saying sometimes you just got to change the way you swing the sword.
Correct. And you know what? In real estate, 93% fail. Within the first 90 days, they get their license, they quit. Because it's not what it seems.
Everybody thinks you just come, sit down, first week, some guy comes in, you close the deal, happy day, that's it.
Let me put it this way. A lot of guys out there and girls, have you ever shot a gun?
Yeah.
Okay. I've also shot a gun. Can you do a grouping this small at 5 yards? Like a coin. Or like really close. Can you shoot through that same hole? Probably, right? Yeah, you've shot a lot. I've shot a lot. Now here's the next question. And I went out shooting with cops and FBI and all these other guys. Great clients of mine. Can you shoot and walk at the same time?
Gonna be harder.
Way harder. So basically it's, I swing the sword great. But now, in real life, it wasn't about swinging the sword. It was running, ducking, and swinging the sword at the same time. And if you try that, where, like, I was in front of, like, actual guys that, these guys teach, like, real Navy SEALs. The guy, like, trains real Navy SEALs. Everything matters. And it's the same in sales. He's like, this is what he said. He said, and after I shot the gun, and I put it back in the holster, he said, hey man, nobody won a battle by putting the gun back fast in their holster. And I was like, oh wow. He's like, bro, if you shoot your thigh, there's a vein, and we don't have a surgeon on the spot that can stitch that like thick vein or artery, whatever it's called, you're gone in 30 seconds. So he's like, when you're putting the gun back, you're doing it slowly, you're watching, and you're putting it back. He's like, even Navy SEALs, the best ones, they're still very careful about putting the gun back. It's the little things of you're drawing your gun, you're walking. Is your hand above when you're opening the door? Is it below when you're opening the door? Why? And every detail matters. And it's the same in real estate. It's the same in every other industry. It's every detail mattered in that terms. Does that make sense?
People just see the A and the Z. They don't see the B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah, they're like, I shoot a gun great. Okay, run and shoot the gun great. Duck and slide while you're popping that door and shoot the gun in the same spot. You can't. You don't have enough training. But guess what? That guy who's coming in and breaking into your house and he's a Navy SEAL about to take you down, He has 100,000 hours of freaking, millions of rounds that he shot, and he's coming to get you. You think he's not going to get you? He's going to get you. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you shoot the target standing still.
Absolutely.
And now your heart rate's 180. You can't shoot that same target like that. So everything matters.
No, that's so true. Because now that I relate it to my own journey, I've made so many different types of content, and for a long time I didn't make money. I wasn't growing, or I was growing the wrong way. I was gaining the wrong audience. I was making content that growing in something that I didn't like. And it's like when you put in the reps, sometimes like certain styles work, but maybe not for you. So you just gotta do it so much, a lot of volume, that you're like, okay, this may not be the most popular way, but this works for me. Like, I've got results with this, right? So I'm gonna slowly turn towards this, right? So I'll give you an example. I've done a lot of interviews, podcasts since last year, right? The best ones that performed with the highest numbers, most of them were like in this like genuine, authentic setups, right? So it wasn't like in a crazy podcast setup, like mics here, 3 cameras here. It was just like very low-key, chill, laid-back settings, right? And they perform the best from my experience, at least for me, right? Maybe that's what suits my personality. Maybe that's what suits who I am as a person. But for some people, they do podcasts in these crazy studios and they get insane numbers. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta like swing the bat so much, or the sword so many times, that you're like, okay, this works for me. This is something that I perform well. I like it, and it just fits with me,
And that's what it is. Maybe the people that watch you, they're tired of the crazy setups. They're tired of the OnlyFans girls coming in and talking and this, that. They just want a regular guy to just talk real life, and just no bullshit, no whatever. Just talk to me, bro. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna give you my undivided attention, but just give it to me real. Yeah,
I feel like that's what a lot of people...
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what you're doing.
And I feel like that applies to so many people, because there's a lot of people who put in a lot of work, but they just have to slightly change the way they're attacking, or their style of approach, basically.
Correct. And unfortunately, not everybody's going to make it. Because everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to make it, I'm special. I'm sorry. Not everybody is special. So that's the shitty part, And it's like, let me put that into perspective. Do you think right now we can go and, let's say me and you both train 10,000 hours at basketball. Do you think we can take the guys that are 6'7" or 7 feet tall? We can't. Even at 10,000 hours, we still can't do it. I'm 35, I'm too old, right? You're 23, maybe you can do it. But the guy still has like 1.5 foot crazy reach over you, or whatever, right? And that's what it is. It's sometimes you're not built to do what you want to do. And you have to switch even careers to try to find what you're good at. But even then, sometimes you just won't be good. And guess what? It's okay. There's a lot of people that are mediocre. And there's a lot of people that suck. So it is what it is. You have to accept that. Yeah.
Wherever there is darkness, there is, wherever there is light, there's also darkness. Wherever there are winners, there are also losers.
And the crazy part about it is there's way more darkness. The nothingness outside of Earth, the void of nothing, it's way bigger than Earth. So the space in between where there is nothing, no air, no music, just no sound travel, nothing. That is the dark part that always wins, eventually.
But the beauty in life is that those dark times, that's what gives value to, the good times or the light times, Because if you don't go through the dark times, you're not going to value whenever you're like in that, lightness.
Correct. Absolutely. And sometimes I see people with much less that are much happier than with people with much more.
Why is that?
I think experiences become average no matter what you do. For example, when you first picked up the gun to shoot, it was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm about to be like, this crazy Hollywood actor. You're like, pop, pop, pop. You're just like feeling super cool with your gun. But after 100,000 rounds, it's not cool anymore. Now you're just like, I know I can hit the target in the same spot every time. So you keep switching guns in order to see which one's cool, or you're going to experience that little feeling that you had in the beginning. Same with cars. I've seen guys with Honda Civics from 1991 that are way more excited about their car than the guy with the Ferrari. He already has 150 Ferraris, and he's been driving them for 20 years. You think he cares? He doesn't care. So it's anything you do will become average. If right now you going to the hottest girl and talking to her gets your heart rate up to 180, if you do that 10,000 times to 10,000 approaches, it's going to become normal. Your heart rate is going to be normal.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
That's like where you're saying, like, you got to be in that neutral place, that
correct.
Nothing really bothers you in that pendulum.
And if it bothers you, go do it. And then it's not going to bother you.
Yeah.
If it's bothering you, it's because you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think I said this in the previous video, anything that has like the power to make you happy, it also has the equal force to make you sad.
Of course. Of course. And it's much easier to become sad because bad news are more memorable. And your brain is kind of wired to survive. So it's actually, there's so much crazy psychology out there. It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
It takes like only one bad event to change how you operate in your whole life.
Correct.
It can be bad, it can be good. Like sometimes, let's just say, it's like a stupid example. Let's just say you're like in kindergarten, right? And then you say a sentence and then your teacher says, "You're so good at talking." And then that just sticks. Maybe you weren't different with other kids, but maybe another kid heard from their dad is like, "Oh, you're so shy," or you never say anything to any people, and then that sticks to their mind, and then for years and years they repeat that story to themselves, and then they become that person. But that kid just like was told by his teacher, "Oh, you're good at talking." "Oh, I'm good at talking? Okay, I got the confidence, now I'm just talking." And it just builds, and suddenly 15, 20 years goes by, you're a whole different person.
Correct, yeah. And that's where it's very dangerous if you have good teachers or bad teachers, and what environment you were brought into. So you have to be smart enough to understand what happened. But you can't blame anybody else. But you have to understand why. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best way to summarize this video is to understand, like, everything is your fault.
Correct.
The world is your mirror. So
correct.
You can blame things. You can say, "Oh, this person was messed up," or "This situation was, messed up my life." Your choice.
It's your fault, yeah.
Yeah.
It's your fault. And more of if you're a man.
100%.
Yeah. Well, we take responsibility. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the moment you realize the world is a reflection of you, like everything starts to make sense. It clicks.
Correct. It's teaching you. And do you believe in God?
Yeah.
Okay, I believe in God too. So if you think about it in the perspective of God looking at you, He doesn't want you to be a simp. He doesn't want you to be weak. He wants you to be strong. Now, if I put you in a perfect environment as a child, are you going to grow stronger than if I put you in an environment which is super dangerous and really crazy and there's just like all these things happening at the same time and you're just trying to survive all day?
Most likely not.
So if we put those two kids, the kid that's never seen anything, he's just papuk, right? He's like the soft little snowflake. And we put the kid that like grew up in like Mowgli, and we put them in a crazy area. Which one has the chance to survive? The one that had a crazy life, crazy hard life. As a man, I'm not saying women. We're just talking about men here. Women's a whole different, division, whole other caliber. So the reason God gives you a tough life is because He wants you to learn something. Same with your kid. If he falls down and cries, sometimes you don't go and just help him. You're like, let him get up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You as a dad, you want to see him get up. If you help him every time and he just cries and he knows, oh, if I make a little bit of noise, that's it, dad comes in to help, I don't know if he's going to get up every time. What about when I'm not there? Does that make sense? So I think in a way, God teaches people and takes away what they love is because that's when you fell down and He wants to see you get up. He's like, well, let me see what you got. You're a man. I created you in my image. Your great-grandfather ran away from crazy, Turks shooting at him in the back and they got him. You know what I mean? Now I want to see you. I want to see what you can do.
Absolutely.
And this life you're living is soft. Like I was homeless, personally. I tore my back. I was homeless. I watched my dad lose all his teeth. I watched my mom have rosacea. I lived alone. My family moved to Arizona. I was here. Crazy shit was happening. But at the same time, it makes you tougher. And those guys that are really nice, they lived a crazy tough life. Yeah. And mine's not tough. There's guys that, there's a guy that is at this office. He's been a boxer since he was a kid. For him to go and talk to a girl is like, bro, what are you talking about? It's like me lifting up this phone. You know what I mean? It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been punched in the face 20,000 times. You think I care? So it's like, tough life makes you better. Yeah. And the snowflakes, they melt.
You got to go through those hard times.
100%. Yeah. You have to. Your life has to suck. And if your life sucks right now, that means you're learning something. Yeah.
That must be hard for a lot of people that they didn't go through those hardships. And when that chaos hits them, they're going to be having a difficult time to recover for sure.
They will. And sometimes it hits you, and then it becomes much better, and it makes you to something that you weren't supposed to become. Your ego goes up, you become this weird dude, you start getting on drugs, hits you again to the bottom. That wasn't the version I wanted you to become. You do it again and again and again until you're actually good. Humble.
Yeah.
Until you're just like, it teaches you until you become what God wants you to become. Yeah. Not what you want to become.
It's crazy how much this story that you were saying gets repeated by different people, different countries, different cultures. It's like the same story, but just repeated, different characters, different timelines, different locations, but it's the same story.
Different languages, yeah. Different names. Correct.
Yeah, it's crazy because even though we are all like different, physically, on a third dimension, but in the core, we are the same. We're just coming from the same source.
I believe everybody's soul looks the same.
Yeah, of course.
It might be a white light, like a little light bulb. Maybe everybody has the same light bulb, So it's like we don't really know what's beyond, but we are in this physical realm to learn what's here and then take it with us. Maybe life has to be unfair for you to learn something. Does that make sense? There's a purpose behind it. What are you learning? Why are you here learning that? Yeah.
I feel like for the smallest things to have purpose, it means the big things have to have purpose. For example, the bug on a piece of leaf, like outside in a park, it has a purpose. The bee, going around the flowers, that has a purpose.
Of course.
So if for that to have purpose, other things need to have purpose because it's a very well orchestrated, well drilled, well systemized world we are living in. It's like this universe just works perfectly. And the fact that it works like that, it means there is a purpose behind it. There is a, I don't want to say, there is like a conscious creation behind it. It cannot be just random.
Well, for the greater good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The evolution of it.
Yeah.
In that aspect. Yeah, of course. I mean, that bee has been around for, like honey doesn't age. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. To me, that's crazy. How can you make something that's edible 5,000 years later and it's still good as it's right now?
Yeah.
They opened, I think it was in Egypt, they opened a tomb, it was full of honey with like a mummy, and the honey was 100% good. Like you can eat it right now. Yeah, and it's like, that to me is a creature that God made.
Yeah.
I can't describe that. I can't make anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like the perfect way to wrap it up, man.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of things.
I learned personally, a lot of things too.
I feel like the viewers can learn a lot too. So
of course, yeah. Watch it a couple times, see what you learn, see what you catch. There might be one sentence that might change your life, so you never know which one it is.
Exactly. Yeah. So you just rewatch it, take notes, and sometimes if you're going through some hard times, come back to this.
Exactly. And keep watching his channel as it evolves, and we'll see the many people that come and share all of the ideas that they have.
Of course. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Of course. Thank you.
Of course.